Okay, welcome back to another How to Use Oxygen. We feature OxyNinja here, and we're actually making our own design set library so that anything that you guys see here, you could actually utilize as a design set library directly from KLB Solutions to save you the time and not have to create this on your own. Okay, so in Oxygen, I'm going to first create a section. Okay, so I've got a section here. I always like to use my structure panel. So I've got my section so I can see. We're going to call this, I always like to name things so it's just really clean and easy to use. This is the dynamic image with heading overlay. A little wordy. That's exactly what it is. Okay, so now inside of this, well, let's just add a heading. Okay, we're going to make this, I'm going to just go with H3 because I like to use H3s because this probably isn't going to be the top of the page, nor will it be the second section of the page, or probably one of the sections after that, and H3 is good for any subsequent section for SEO reasons. Right? You want to have one H1 at the top of the page, one H2 under that ideally, and then after that you can use H3s, 4s, or 5s as you really see fit. So I think H3 looks good. The class can be whatever it needs to be. It's the tag that matters for H3 on this one. And I'm going to also make it, so I'm using Oxygen classes, heading 3, heading dark, so whatever you change your classes to be, whatever global design sets you're using, it's already going to integrate seamlessly. So dynamic images with heading overlay. Okay, and then you know what? Let's add center self to this. Okay, so that's going to be centered. And then let's do a margin bottom, a little bit large. See how we like that. Okay, so now we're going to add a repeater element. Okay. Okay, we've got heading. And then we've got our repeater, which we're going to call image blog repeater. So this will be whatever our blog is or post type. I'm going to say image post repeater. Okay, so right now we have it set up where it's just going to do the posts on the page. So it's going to just automatically show posts. But if we're using custom post type, we can add whatever custom post types we use. I use I use meta box a lot. So this could be our services post type. This could be our locations post type. And that's how I typically use them to showcase locations. So the first thing is we're going to call this main card. So the main card, so the repeater, let's make this a columns. Let's go with the columns of 4. Leave 6. Let's go column 6. Let's do it. Let's go big. Column 6. We're going to make a gap on this. Let's use a medium gap when columns, when it gets down to a medium. So this is extra large, large, medium, small. Right? So when it gets to medium, we're going to change this out to 2 columns, and on small, it's also going to be 2 columns. Okay, so we got 6 columns, medium, gap, medium size 2, small. Okay, here we go. So we've got that set up there. For the main card, I'm going to add a selector main KLB main image card overlay. Okay, so add a class to that card, and on this class, we're going to make this overflow hidden because we don't want any overflow. We're going to make it relative position. So everything that's absolutely positioned within this class is is positioned based on its parent relative container, which will be this. And width, we're going to go 100%. And pixels, let's go 300 pixels here. 200. 150 pixels. Let's see what 150 looks like, and then we can move from there. Okay. And now we're going to make another. Within that, we're going to actually use an image. And then inside of that image, we're going to, or below that image, we're going to also add a link wrapper. And we're going to add a heading. Okay, let's make this heading H4 just because it's under the H3. Let's go with H4. Let's see what that looks like. We might go with H5 if that's way too big. Yeah, let's go with H5. H5. Heading light. Okay, and then let's also add a class KLB image card heading overlay heading overlay. Okay. Dash heading overlay. Okay, that's a good name. So it's my image card dash heading overlay. Okay. And then here we're going to go KLB image card dash image. Okay. We got a link wrapper wrapping that heading. We're going to make this KLB image card link wrapper. Okay, so here we go. This image card link wrapper. So we want the link wrapper is also going to be our overlay. This is going to be our gradient. This is image, and this is our heading. So we're going to make the image. We're on the class, so we're going to update this class. We're going to make this image (100%) by 100%. Okay, we're going to make the layout of this absolute, so it's absolutely positioned within this. We're going to on the image itself, the ID, we're going to set the actual data of this is going to be the featured image. Right? So now it's in there. And go back to this class. We're also going to make sure that we're using a Z index here. So layout, Z index. If the main card is 0, which they all are by default, this is going to be a 1. Okay? On top of that, in our link wrapper, we're going to, let me go back one more thing here on. Let's see if I can do it in object fit. We're going to go cover. Object fit cover. Great. Perfect. Okay. Link wrapper. So now we're on the class for the link wrapper. We're going to layout. This is also going to be absolutely positioned. This is also going to be a Z index of 2. It's going to sit on top of E. See? Otherwise, if it's a 1 or even a 0, it's behind this card, so we'll make it a 2. So we got a div main card with the image Z1. The wrapper is a 2. And go over to this heading. Now we're on the image card. Heading overlay, and we're going to make sure that this has a Z index of 3. Even though it already is part of the link wrapper, we just want to ensure that it's the very top of the container. Okay? So also in link wrapper, we're going to, see in the link wrapper class, we're going to add size and space. We're going to add padding of 20 pixels across the board here. Give it a little bit of padding. So this heading is using H5. That's probably enough space, and people can always make it bigger as they need. So we're going to take this heading, we're going to change this out, not there, but at the ID level. We're going to change this out to insert data title. Insert. Heading light. There it is. Service. Okay. Oh, one thing here on this advanced spacing, we're going to actually force this to the bottom. Oh, not there. Step back. We're going to do that at the link wrapper, spacing, auto. Nope, wrong auto. Sorry about that. 100. 100%. We want this link wrapper to be the whole thing. I want to be able to hover this whole thing and click to that link wrapper. 100%. And auto. This should push it. And pixel. 100%. And on the heading itself, not sure we'll actually say auto. There. Now it's pushed to the bottom of the link wrapper. The link wrapper has 20 pixel padding around it. That's looking the way we want it to look. Okay, so what happens if the image is too bright? Well, we need to accommodate that, because I want to be able to have people just smash in these images and have them all work automatically. Okay, so we're going to add a gradient to this link wrapper. So link wrapper, background, gradient. And the reason we don't just use a background image, the reason we went through this whole step of making all these layers is a background image doesn't let you use the media image. If you're using the media image, which you can see that we're doing here, we're using the media library image. It actually scales the image based on the size of the browser, so that helps page speed, as well as it brings in the title and alt tags, so you get the benefit of SEO. Okay, sorry about that. So back to the link wrapper. On the link wrapper class, I'm going to go to the background, scroll down to gradient, add my two colors. I'm going to add, my first color will actually be this, it doesn't matter what it is, because I'm going to be zero opacity. So we'd be, I'm just going to say white with a 0 opacity. In fact, let's use a class. Let's use our heading light, even though it's 0 opacity. That way, if we change a class in the future, it's all class-based and using classes, right? And then we're going to go with a dark. So let's go with dark background or heading dark. I believe they are the same. Yeah, they're both the same. Black heading dark is actually background dark is a little bit lighter, so we're going to go with just heading dark, which is all the way black. And then we're going to fade this opacity. So you see I can read that services probably somewhere around here. I can still read it. Okay. And now we're going to actually change the state to hover and do the same thing on a hover state of the background gradient. Add color. Make it our heading light, which is as white as it gets with nothing, and add the second color, which will be our background heading dark, and then we're going to make it darker. So we were at like 50 something, we're going to just make it a little bit darker. So that should give us a very subtle appearance there. So let's check that out. Let's look at the front end of what that looks like. Okay, so when I hover, it gets a little bit darker. I like it. And it should link me over to the service page. Oh, I didn't make that link yet. Let's go do that right now. Link wrapper. We'll do this at the ID level too, so that we're only affecting this particular link wrapper and not the whole class. We're going to set the data to permalink. Save. Look at the front end. Got our nice little hover effect. Gets a little darker when we hover on it, so it's just so gently nice. And click on it, and it's going to take me to a page that I haven't designed. This is the service page, but there's no content there because it's just there's nothing there yet. Okay? So this takes me. You can tell though, it takes me right to the service page. So it's taking me to the blog page. So if these were location listings, if this was service listings, whatever this is, it would take us there. Okay. And we can always change the order. Right now it's 8. And then 1, it's showing me by, the order is reversed. It's a descending date. So the most recent is on top right now. But we can always change that inside of the image post repeater by just changing the query order, right? You can make it whatever you want to make it. So that was that. We successfully just made image cards the right way. So we're using images, not background images. We're using the media library version of the image versus the static URL version of the image. So we're actually calling an image based on the size of the screen. So if it's a big screen or a big need for an image, it'll use the bigger version of the image. And as the browser gets smaller, let's actually check this. There it goes. It goes down to 8, this smaller size. So that actually looks pretty good. Let me go to responsive here. Just take a little looky-loo. We might want to change some of these sizes. We're never going to get that thin. So I'm just looking to see. So that looks a little bit more vertical than I'd like. We might even come in based on the words that we're using. We might use a smaller size font here. Or something like that, right? So you can see it on the main sizes, what it'll look like at those different device sizes. So you can also do that here. You can take a quick gander at the different sizes. So that looks a little bit too tall for me. I like that shape. That's the shape I got an issue with. Okay? So let's do this. We're going to go to the image wrapper itself, where we have, and we're in the class for the card, so we're controlling this card. We're going to go to the size and spacing. Here, we're going to make it a little bit more, a little smaller, a little shorter, right? Here, we're going to make it a little shorter. Here, we're going to go back to the 150 that we had because that looked excellent. And here, we're also at the 150 because it just inherits downhill, right? So 150 looked fine there, and I think actually it's going to be like 125 or 130. and 35. That looks rather nice. Okay, final save. Take a look. So now we've got that. And in the future, you can use these classes and make your own things as well, and they'll all just be pulling dynamically these different sizes. There we go. That looks rather nice. Okay. On the Fold, on the iPhone, on the Pad Mini, on the Surface, and then we can just play with the responsiveness, right? So we can just make sure that we're happy with the way that's going to look. And we are. Okay, there you have it. Image cards the right way. Thank you, guys.